There is a Southern revival awakening in our great nation. We are here to highlight the makers, creators, chefs, and communities revitalizing the traditions of Southern food, local cuisine, and craftsmanship. Welcome to the South in Your Mouth podcast.
What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Kevin with 441 South.
Cameron with Southern Cinch Hot Sauce.
And tonight we got Mr. Mikey.
What's up, guys? So I'm with a company called Fire Smoked BBQ Company based out of St. Augustine, Florida.
He's not just that. Like, Mikey's been around for a while.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Once or twice.
Once or twice. I've done a couple things. Not much, but a couple.
As long as you're good at those couple things.
Some can argue.
So we're live tonight. We got Mikey in here. We were thankful enough to have him passing through, and he said, "Hey, I'll do it." But guys, like he's not just. I know his business right now is rubs and sauces, but like Mikey's been around. I've known Mikey 12 years.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Like he has a podcast called Man Meat BBQ. Y'all go check it out. I think there's an episode way back when with 441 South before we were ever even a food truck or a rub or anything. I think we had just gotten started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys were just you were cooking. I think you were thinking about doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
in the planning. You were like, I want to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then it slowly started happening.
It doesn't feel like it was slow, but like you look back, like it's flown. Time's flown by. Like following you and like knowing you for so long, like just the time that I've known you, like seeing you grow as a cook, grow as a dad, a husband. I remember all of that stuff. Like it's weird to like know people from social media that have never really met.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is like you meet so many people on social media and then you become friends with them through your phone. And you're like, I know that person very well. And you're like, do you really? Like,
don't know what you really look like.
That is, like, I've never really met him in person, but it is one of those things where you kind of like get to know people. Like, I've watched your journey moving from, cooking out a bunch of big green eggs to getting an offset, getting different pits and cooking different things, having the food truck and, moving around, putting out the rub line and doing all that crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It definitely does. Hang on. I was just,
you're fine.
Bumping the air down.
He's getting all technical on us right now.
He's fancy.
I'm not fancy. I'm texting my daughter to, hey, walk out in the hallway.
He's not using an app. He's using the old app just in a new way.
I'm yelling via text.
All caps.
That's the best way. Now, you got a new hot sauce that we're working on, right?
Yep. Southern Cinch. We're getting there.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to make it happen.
Eventually, yeah, one of these.
So I think people don't realize the co-packing world.
Oh, God.
And what entails. Like I get people every day in here. Hey, when's Cam? Where can I get Cam sauce at? I said, he's working on it, guys.
Yep.
They're like, what takes so long? I'm like, well, when you have a fresh product, like it's not just going up and calling somebody, hey, can you bottle this for me?
Well, it is and it isn't, right? It's okay. So I have a product in my head and I have an idea in my head, but then it's how do we get it to an actual product in a bottle, right? How do we make sure that the FDA is happy with it? How do we make sure that it's going to be shelf stable, that it's not going to get somebody sick, that it's going to have a 2-year shelf life? We got to make sure the label's appealing. We got to make sure the bottle we put it in is correct. We got to make sure all these like different things, and all that takes time. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Doesn't realize that you can blink in the middle of like testing all this stuff, and it's 3 weeks later, and you're like, why isn't it out yet? Well, we're still testing stuff.
Yeah.
And we're making sure that we're releasing what we actually want to release.
I totally agree, and I've had multiple people tell me, sometimes good enough's good enough, but it's really not, because when you're in the co-packing world, what you make at home on the counter, it's a process to get it to
Yeah.
what's going to hit the stores and to be close.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's never that easy of, hey, 4 cups of this, 2 cups of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't equal out when you start making 80, 100 gallons of it at a
It
time.
definitely does not.
Well, that's what you like. I get asked this question quite a bit. Is I have a product. I have a seasoning that I want to co-pack, or I want to do this. I want to start doing that. And I go, awesome. Do you have your recipe down? And that's like the first question that I ask. And do you want to know how many people end at that?
Really?
90%.
Wow.
Do you have a recipe? Well, yeah, I use like a little bit of this and a little bit
Dash
of that.
of this and splash
And
of
I go,
that.
no. You need to go buy a scale.
Yep.
You need to go put everything in. If it's liquid, it needs to be in ounces.
Yep.
And I need to know it's going to be weighed out properly in every shape and form. And if it's not weighed out properly, the co-packer can't do anything with it, because you can't scale 4 cups. You can't scale 4 cups of brown sugar to a 1,000-gallon pot. It's just not going to work that way. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't be like, well, I cook mine to taste. Yeah, that dude over there ain't going to cook it to taste.
It's a temperature.
It's a temperature thing, but he also has to be like, the FDA can't be like, well, it's cooked to taste, so it's fine. It doesn't work that way. Like, it doesn't. So like, I always ask them, like, do you have your recipe down? Is it written down? Have you tested it? And then here's the other problem you're going to run into. What black pepper are you buying? What salt are you buying? What brown sugar are you buying? How much molasses is in that brown sugar? So you start running into these issues that you never thought you'd run into. But it's like, is my cayenne spicier than your cayenne that I'm getting? Where's that heat level that we want it to be at? Oh, okay, so I need to dial my cayenne down in my recipe to make sure that it's still the same heat level that I've been making at home, or that I've been, producing, to make sure that everything is balanced and is like what you wanted it to be in that bottle.
I totally agree. And you talk about that black pepper.
Yeah.
Like, depending on where you get black pepper from, like, totally changes the flavor profile. Our briskets, we use a certain black pepper on it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't deviate from that.
One of the things that I've noticed the most about, like, with the sauce, the vinegar.
Yeah.
Because you have different levels of acidity for
In your
different
vinegar.
brands.
You have a 5 or 10%.
Yeah.
And
And you switch up your brand for a different batch. Even, with me just making it at the house, it tastes completely different. And I've got to, sorry, can't sell it.
It's a different. I mean, the vinegar is different.
Yeah.
Right? It's that's no longer your sauce. Now you're in a whole different sauce.
Exactly.
And when you're doing that, like, at mass scale of going into a bottle and going into a store, unfortunately, it's kind of like that McDonald's thing. Like, if you eat a burger in McDonald's in Georgia, it's the same as the burger that's in, California.
Yeah.
It's that same shitty burger. Like, it's not any good, don't get me wrong. But at least it's consistently bad.
Yeah.
Right?
absolutely. I totally agree. Like, we're talking, you're talking all these ingredients. And like you said, here in the United States and stuff like that, they have a consistent product. And that's what you're looking for with co-packers. That's what you're looking for when you're making a sauce.
Restaurant world, you're even looking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Restaurant
when they come
world.
to
You want it consistent.
I want a 441 South brisket, but I want to make sure that it tastes the exact same today as 4 days from now, as the first brisket that came off that pit this morning to the last brisket that I serve at the end of the day. It's got to have somewhat consistency. Obviously, there will be like small little sways, but like when we were running our food truck, like that was always my thing. It's like, I want my last brisket and my first brisket to taste the exact same, because I don't want someone to come up and go, well, they're a really good food truck if you get them
Early.
or they're a really good food truck on Tuesdays because their brisket was good on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have the inconsistencies.
Exactly. And, you know, that's one thing I think the barbecue world has turned into. Not just, I think the food world in general, but the barbecue world mostly has turned into this, hey, we're going to cook, we're going to kill ourselves to serve a quality product every day. Where not everybody is that way. There's a lot of places out there that aren't doing that. But and to this day, I've been open 6 years, ran a food truck a couple of years before that. So I've been around about 8 years. To this day, I still have people writing reviews. Hey, I can't believe they sold out a brisket at 7:00 at night. Well, I close at 8. Like, I get it. But at the end of the day, I really don't want to go home with that, and I'm not going to serve it to you the next day. There's a lot of people out there that will.
Yeah, there are.
Not me. And I know Mikey wouldn't either. And the same goes for rubs. The same goes for, we were just talking about good enough. When is good enough good enough?
Yeah.
When it's perfect from start to finish. Right. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, one of the things that we kind of did, like, when we were like, these flavors came off our food truck. At least most of them did. Shiitake didn't. Shiitake was never used on the food truck, and neither was Estes. But most of the stuff was used on the food truck, and that's where those flavors came from. It came from people asking, "Well, I want to make your pulled pork at home, or I want to be able to make that and use it at home. I like that flavor." And I was like, "Well, it's ours. Like, I don't know. I don't use, like," because people would ask, like, "Hey, do you use a commercial?"
Right.
Seasoning. And I'm like, no, like we make our seasoning in house, and it would just be like one of those things. Of course, my phone has to go off because they don't know that I'm on this thing. Of course, why would they not?
Oh Lord,
timing people. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so we can make this. So that's where this like flavors started coming from. Is we started bottling it and selling it. And as it started getting more and more popular, we started going into retail with it and started kind of moving more weight with that. And then we started developing new flavors because, unfortunately, like there are old brands out there that have never put anything new out and they just keep the same thing and they just run their own way. But unfortunately, like with nowadays, like if you're just one brand and you put one thing out, eventually you need to put out something new.
Yep. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Because you're gonna get looked over. Especially with the quick world especially with the ADD of the backyard barbecue cook and social media.
They're constantly looking for something new.
What's the new shiny object that I can cook with?
That's right.
And like what differentiates us from a lot of the stuff is, most of our line doesn't contain any sugar.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
unbelievable. Our sauce has sugar and then our sweet rub has sugar. Everything else is sugar free. So like the hard part is like educating somebody that like, this bottle right here doesn't have any sugar in it, so it can't be, super cheap because raw spices cost money.
And what he's talking about is sugar is just a filler. Sugar,
and we also don't have fillers, right?
Yeah, and also, yeah. With that being said, I like the aspect that he only has one sweet rub that has sugar in it because the rest of them you can put on a butt or a brisket and run 12, 15 hours without it burning because that's what happens. Sugar after about 4 hours, everybody's like, wow, look at that bark. That's not bark. That's burnt
sugar.
That's burnt sugar.
That turns bitter.
And beyond, like caramelization is a fine line between caramelization and burnt with sugar. Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people run past that line. They don't just walk past. They literally run past.
Oh, I know.
Like, here we go. And they're like, look at that bark. It's fantastic. And you touch it and it's like, yeah, that's fantastic. I really want to eat that.
And a lot of people overcome that by pulling at 165 about 4 to 5 hours in, wrapping with some liquid and stuff. They've got beautiful color on it. Yeah. But the other side of that is, unless you're trimming most of the fat off of a pork butt, it's not rendered off. Here, what we use is salt and pepper, like a pork butt. I use seasoned salt and black pepper on our pork butts every day. That way I can take it for 12, 14 hours before I wrap it. The fat's rendered in it. So when you're in here and you're eating, like it's good. I don't have to worry about getting hunks of fat in it. Every once in a while you will, depending on who's running the board and stuff like that. But
it'll happen.
Yeah, it happens because pork's a fatty meat. Same thing with brisket.
I mean, that was one of our biggest complaints on our food truck was that our pork belly burn-ins had too much fat on them. We had a lady come up and she's like, "It's all fat." I go, "It's pork belly."
Yeah.
And she's like, "But it's all fat." I go, "But it's pork belly." I'm like, "You're not winning this argument."
The thing is pork belly, like that's what you're going for. You're going for that richness of the fat, and that fat will take on so much flavor, the flavor profile and stuff like that. Mixing a little gochujang onto it, rubs, it pulls that flavor into it, and it's just a magical bite.
I mean, yeah, pork bellies are just, I mean, it's the best. I personally, it's one of my favorite, like, cuts off a pig.
Oh, no doubt.
It's good.
Oh, it's great.
Little flavor sponge.
Exactly. I mean, and you could do so much with it. And like, I mean, we used to sell out of that stuff like crazy. We moved tons.
No doubt. Like, I think being in a restaurant, when you're a food truck and you're doing pop-ups
Sure.
a couple of times a week, a restaurant every day, I can't serve pork belly every day. Once a week,
Yeah.
once every couple of weeks. Yeah. And I really like that brisket belly where you're taking pork belly and cooking it just like a brisket.
Yep.
You know, salt, pepper, you're
It's fantastic.
oh,
It really
it's
is.
it's unbelievable. Making BLTs out of that,
Yeah.
doing a little Szechuan peppercorn crust on top of it, or doing a chili crisp with it. Phenomenal.
Or
And also-
the pastrami style you did.
Pastrami.
That was so good.
Most people don't get, like, if you take that brisket or that pork belly up like a brisket, that fat really gets jelly.
Oh yeah, and
It's real jelly.
and it slices like a brisket. And I tell you what, a lot of people wouldn't know the difference. I mean, it's not going to taste like a brisket, but
Yeah.
it slices like one. If you just looked at a picture of it, like sometimes it looks just like one.
It
You
does,
know.
I mean, that's where your bacon comes from too. You know what I mean? Like everyone that doesn't like, it's like, look at bacon. You look at bacon and it's never, I mean, there's not a lot of like meat on bacon.
I mean, how could you be upset looking at bacon?
But if you pick off like all the meat off the bacon, you get a ton of fat.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like at least a good cut of bacon. And that's what we'd always explain to people. Like they're basically like cubes of bacon. Here you go.
You know, with that, like we talk about fat and everything, like that's one thing I think restaurants and stuff like food trucks and all, you know, with barbecue, you're holding long periods of time and
Sure.
stuff. So fat is your friend.
Yeah.
Fat's going to keep your flavor. Fat's going to keep it from oxidizing, keep it from drying out. Like I know people that, like I'm a firm believer. I pull pork to order. Have people, I know people that do whole hog and they hold their hog chopped in lard. Like they hold it in fat. Like it's not going to oxidize. It's going to stay nice and juicy. It's
Yeah.
going to be wet, but it's going to be,
It's
the
going to be good.
flavor is there.
Yeah.
Last week we had Paul Ignali on here and he brought us some chops and those chops were injected with lard and then brine.
Yeah.
Son, like it was the best pork chop I think I've ever had.
I mean, it's not healthy for you in any way, shape, or form. but
Of
it's
course it
fantastic.
is. Of course. I mean, it came from the pig. Like lard is lard. I would rather cook with lard. Yeah, everybody thinks it's a bad name, but like you think about it, our grandparents grew up eating that every day. Their biscuits were made with it. You know, everything they cooked was cooked with lard and stuff, and they lived to be 85, 90 years old.
Well, so I think what happened, like if you really look at like food culture and you look at what happens with food is a lot of the larger companies, especially if you go grocery food, a lot of the larger companies will steer people towards directions, right? And they want you to steer towards the cheaper
Oh, no doubt.
product, right? Lard's not cheap.
No.
If you get really down to it,
Yeah.
because there's only so much you can get, right? There's a fine amount of it. Where, like, going back, like us not having much sugar in our stuff, like a lot of people get steered towards sugar and salt because it's cheap and it weighs a lot.
Yeah.
And we fill bottles by weight, not by, you know what I mean? Like we fill bottles by weight, not by mass, you know, and like it's crazy. Like when we started doing it, And then you start realizing it's like, well, this is a 9-ounce shaker, but it gets 7 ounces worth of weight of product. You know, people don't realize that.
But Danos.
Yeah. Talk about that.
I'm not throwing shade. Like, I'm just joking because that's his thing. Like, no salt, no whatever. And
but okay, hold on. But in his earlier videos, if you go back to his earlier videos, he adds salt to
everything.
Recipe.
Yes.
So how is it like I was talking about this earlier with somebody, and like our products are like these are ready to go, finished in the bottle,
Well balanced.
Yes.
Like
So you don't add. You can. Don't get me wrong. Like if you want to add something, you can. I'm not telling you how to cook, but I'm just saying like they stand alone. You don't have to add other things if you want to use that product. Where there's so many seasoning companies and there's so many guys out there that are like, well, I have to add salt. I have to add this. Why? Well, it makes the rub taste better. Well, it should have just been in there.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I totally agree. Like, if it makes it taste better, why didn't you do it to begin with?
Yeah.
Like, just think of all the bottles you would have sold.
But no, because then you can't put low sodium.
And the other side of that is how many people are going to go buy it and remember to buy the salt?
Almost none.
None. And then they're going to get home and they're going to be like, hey, this doesn't even taste good. And all. So I totally get
Or you
what
can use a ton of it to coast flavor.
No doubt.
You know, and then you're like he does this whole thing. You can never over season. You can over season something like
very easily.
That's not a real thing. You can't use half a bottle of seasoning on a pork chop and be like, it's fine. It won't over season. Yes, it will.
So the other side of that is we talked about burning stuff.
Yeah.
Sugar burning. If you put pepper, like a powdered pepper, like chili powder, anchos, anything like that, it's going to burn. It's going to burn worse than sugar does.
Yeah. It will burn.
And it tastes worse than sugar ever tasted. Oh, God. Yeah.
It'll burn. You have to watch it.
Just season a pork chop while it's on the grill and that smell, you're going to be tasting that if you let it burn.
If you let it burn, yeah. It's going to be an interesting one.
So since we're talking the rub world,
yeah,
you went down to Baron Burton's.
We did go down.
It wasn't called it wasn't
Key West Invitational.
The Key West Invitational. Last year it was called.
It was called the Rub and Tug.
The Rub and Tug. That's right.
We had a Rub and Tug.
So it is super cool. Last year I saw it and I was like, what in the world? So they all go out fishing. You have a
first day's fishing, second day's lobster, and sandbar, and then the third day is the barbecue.
And you're cooking like on a sandbar.
Oh yeah, you're cooking on a sandbar.
You're standing in water all day. Like it's
not all day. So the first year, this year it didn't get as deep, but the first year it was like they're like, what tide's coming in, and I'm like, how much higher is it gonna come? And all Logan's like, oh no, that's fine. 15 minutes later, it's like up to my knees, and I'm like, how much higher is it? So you know the Minimax like stands?
Yeah,
it got right underneath that Minimax.
Oh, I love it.
Like it was just right.
That's cool.
That is cool.
There was a lot of cool shots, cool videos of all of that. Like it looks like y'all just have a blast now.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's 3 days of like complete crazy chaos. You know what I mean? Like you're
no doubt.
Like, people are like, oh, are you? It's a vacation. Like you're not tired after it. No, you're exhausted.
It's a rager.
Oh yeah, you're exhausted after it because it's like, okay, let's do this. Okay, now this, and everyone's going out every night trying to drink and do
good Lord
stuff. So it's like, and then fishing starts at 7 a.m. You know what I mean? Like here we go.
And I'll be honest, like they're not young bucks out there. Like these guys.
No.
It's going to take weeks for people to recuperate from this. Like,
did they give y'all IVs every morning at least?
No, but I brought liquid IV.
There you go.
But like the thing is, like the first year, it was I think barbecue day was 115, and you're standing in front of a big green egg. It's just heat's bailing on you. Everything's hot. It's just it is what it is. Like you're just running and you just keep going.
Man,
It doesn't
love
matter. You know, it doesn't matter. Just eventually you're gonna melt or whatever. I know that I was standing in a bus tub of ice. Cool down. Like Amanda went and she's like, I have to go to the room and shower.
Yeah.
She's like, I just need to get like, I need to feel better.
Yeah.
And that like it took a toll. I know like people probably got heat exhaustion, and you just keep going. And then this year it was a little bit bigger. There were some more people there. It didn't get quite as wild. There was a little more corporateness. You know, kind of bring it in a little bit. Seas were the ocean was a little choppier this year too.
I got you.
So some people got a little
Seasick.
yeah,
Okay.
a little seasick.
How did Mikey do?
I was fine.
All right.
I was fine. I kept my sea legs going. But we didn't do well on the fishing this year. We fed a bunch of fish. We just
Didn't catch a
didn't
bunch.
catch a bunch of fish, man. We were throwing bait out, and it would come back like hook just completely empty.
Yeah.
So they were just the fish were either too small or they were just smart enough to hit it the right way and just kill us.
Did I see a video of a belly flop
There was a belly flop.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
contest? Okay.
So that started as a joke the first year. Somebody was like, "We should do a belly flop."
Now they're barbecue guys, so there's hardly any small guys.
No, there was no small guys. It was a horrible idea. And like, and then they just kind of started doing it, and then it turned into okay, we're doing a belly flop contest. So now they just do it. It's a horrible idea.
I love it.
Participate in that
Well,
one.
I mean, you got Heath,
Oh, yeah.
Stale cracker.
Stale Cracker.
did it. Stale Cracker did it. A bunch of the guys did it. My buddy Kevin did it. Meet Dave. I think he did it. He decided to pour W sauce on himself completely.
Holy shit!
And like the first year he did that, he like poured a bottle of W sauce on him, and like the hotel manager was standing at the edge of the pool.
Don't you dare.
No, they were completely fine with it.
Really?
Like, yeah, well,
Wow.
it's fine. It's maintenance will clean it up.
I love it.
And those pools are crazy. Those pools they're air conditioned, so they're cooled. So they
Really?
yes.
That's wild. I've never heard of
It's
that.
115 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You really don't want to get in a pool that's like 95.
No doubt. No
You
doubt.
know what I mean? Because then you're just sitting there, you're like, this is not
Sous-videing
comfortable.
yourself.
Yeah, this is not a comfortable atmosphere. So let's cool them down. So they cool them down for you.
I love it. I love it. It just looks like a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is like it's the barbecue world. Whether you're a restaurateur, rubs and spices competition guy, like it's that barbecue world that everybody is part of. Even if you're a backyard cook, like with social media, you feel like you're part of something, and
Yeah.
you truly are. Like you truly are part of it, and that's one thing I like about Mikey is he's always made even the backyard cooks feel like they're part of.
Because they are. I mean, it's all part of that culture. Like you can't get the restaurant guys wouldn't be doing it if the backyard guys weren't excited about it, right?
That's right.
And you
100%.
wouldn't be building up the restaurants that you're building up. And I think it's an interesting, like, I think food is an interesting concept of how it goes in waves and it goes in kind of different food gets popular and then it gets kind of goes down, it goes in waves, right? And it's funny how like when people are like, well, where did this food come from? It's like, well, all of this came from like realistically like poor people food. Like
Yeah.
every big thing came from like peasant food. Like the French cuisine, peasant food.
Yep.
Italian cuisine, peasant food. English food, still peasant food.
They can have their mushy peas.
But yeah, you know what I mean? But like
And
barbecue-
baked beans for breakfast. What
I
in the
mean-
world?
I mean, barbecue, look at it. Like briskets were like the cut that people thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, nobody wants that. You could give it to the cowboys, give it to them. They'll figure out how to cook it.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, how do we cook this this thing to make it damn edible, right? And then same thing with like, I mean, whole hog was a little bit different because like obviously you're getting the whole everything on the hog, but like, you know, spare ribs weren't, nobody wanted those. You know,
Rib tips. Nobody wanted those.
Chicken wings. Back
Yeah.
in the day, no one wanted those.
Nobody wanted chicken wings until Hooters was like, we'll figure it out. We're gonna make these.
Put
things
some
fun.
boobs with some chicken wings, and it's gonna go crazy.
Cold beer? Oh yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where like peasant food always, I think, always starts.
But I
People
think
build it up, and I think chefs, what they do is they take it to the next level, and so do pit masters. Pit masters take something, and we create it into a new level of it.
I totally agree with that. But I also think we talked about that, like you were saying, you know, everything kind of comes in waves.
Yeah.
There's one thing about barbecue. It never comes in a wave. It's been constant.
I feel like it has, but it's been coming up even more.
I think it's evolving.
I think it is too. I think it's evolving and it's starting to meld with other cuisines.
Oh, no doubt.
So you're getting your Tex-Mex, which I mean Tex-Mex has always been a thing, but I'm saying like your Tex-Mex is getting bigger. Your like other, you know, pizza. We used to do barbecue pizzas all the time.
Right.
So we used to team up with like a pizza place, and you know we'd smoke chicken, we do mac and cheese, we do a bunch of different stuff. We do briskets, and like it would be brisket pizza or you know whatever we were doing. So it's like you're teaming up with making something, you know, making barbecue into something else. One of the series that we're doing on our Instagram right now and like TikTok and stuff like that. It's like we're doing a soup series. We always do it in the winter, and I just started doing soups because like
How genius.
I was bored.
I love soups.
But I was
Favorite food.
But I was
Yes.
I was doing it when I was running the food truck, and I was like, I'm just sick of cooking barbecue. I want to cook something else right now. And it's like, well, what can I cook? And it's like Mondays were my days off, so I just made soup Mondays. And like I was the soup person that I was like, because you make a lot of soup and you can't eat all of it, or you don't want to when you cook it all. And you've never worked in a restaurant or cooked in a restaurant or cooked commercially, you don't know what that means. But
You cook all day, and then it's like cooking at home. Like you cook all day to cook barbecue for your family, and then when you're done, like you're like, yep, y'all enjoy.
yeah, have fun.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna eat? Not that.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I love about soups is you can always turn it into something else.
Okay.
Like we did a couple of years ago, we used to do bread bowls in the wintertime, and we did a brisket and mushroom chowder.
There you go.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It was phenomenal.
Sounds awesome.
And all we've done that. The French onion.
Yeah.
You know, put some pulled pork in a French onion soup, like, or brisket. Oh yeah. Ramen.
Yep.
The ramen, that's how Cam got to know me, was my ramen. I'm not like, ramen is one of those things that barbecue pairs so well with.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You can do a lot with it.
And but I love your series. I if y'all aren't following him, like, go follow him. Sunday nights at 8:00, they do a live on Instagram.
We do barbecue chat on Sunday nights, 8 p.m.
Till they pass out.
Until I pass out.
Yeah.
Usually it's about 10 o'clock. I'm old. It's not my fault. Just want to go to bed. So we started at 8, 7 Central. So then you can do the math the other way. I don't really feel like doing further than that. But you know, we do that. We're Fire Smoke _BBQ for all the seasonings and all that, and the soup series, and then Man Meat BBQ. I'm kind of bringing it back. We haven't been using that page, but I'm starting to again.
I love it.
And having some fun with it. But the thing is, like the soup series, like it's crazy. Like I'll grill chicken for like a chicken noodle, or like I'll smoke a whole chicken and make smoked chicken stock.
So and I got to look up the page. There's a page on TikTok and Instagram. It's DJ something and his wife. Like,
Yeah.
and he's always asking, well, yeah, I can cook that. I can do that. So he did chicken noodle soup with ramen noodles the other night. Like, made a chicken, like, unbelievable, like traditional chicken noodle soup.
And then threw
and threw ramen noodles in it. Like I was like, hell yeah.
Yep.
And like he just does some really cool stuff. But seeing that and just seeing how people take it to the next level, just like you do. Also, side note, I have ADHD real bad. Side note is like I was looking for my Man Meat BBQ shirt. So he used to have these barbecue shirts that looked almost like Run DMC's old logos.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I was trying to find, I was going to wear it today.
Oh,
I couldn't, I don't think I would have fit in it, but I was going to try.
it's okay. Just
Yeah.
force it down.
Yeah.
It was a good time. That podcast was fun. I mean, we ran for, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 years that we ran that podcast.
Wow.
And that was like when podcasting was not, it wasn't this.
Yeah.
Explain. Like there was nobody really podcasting.
It was a step above dial up.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we were just doing stuff. Like we were recording and throwing it on the internet. And we built that thing to a pretty nice standard of people listening to it.
Oh yeah.
And
that was my favorite thing because I was driving an hour and a half, 2 hours to work every day. So that was my thing. Every week I couldn't wait for it to come out because
Thursday mornings
I was waiting.
You get that hour-long podcast or however long we go. And it was just one of those things where I was like, I started it with the idea of the airport bar.
Okay.
So like you're at the airport bar and there's 2 dudes talking barbecue and you get to be the fly on the wall. You get to be the dude listening to that conversation because food is one of those things where like I feel like no matter what kind of food you cook, when you tell somebody that you cook or that you're that conversation immediately erupts and it starts.
It's a conversation starter. I think it's a relationship builder.
Sure.
I think restaurants like I don't know how many relationships and friends have been made eating barbecue at our tables and stuff like that.
Not to mention like there's the question of okay, well, what do you like?
Yep.
What do you like? And then it's like, okay, we're gonna
Start
start
comparing notes.
talking this. What do you do? How do you cook your brisket? Well, I do this. Oh, I've never tried doing that. I should probably try doing that. Or, you know, you get the guy that's like, my first brisket was the best brisket that ever cooked. It's the best brisket I've ever eaten. I'm like, no, it wasn't. You're a liar.
Shoe leather.
I mean, here's maybe you got lucky on your first brisket. Sure. What was your second and your fourth like?
Yeah.
And then what was your seventh like? Because, dude, brisket's hard. Brisket's not easy. Brisket's one of those things where, like, you're going to butcher most of them.
Yeah.
First.
No doubt.
Right? I mean, it's still, I'm sure it still happens to you that every once in a while you'll get a brisket that you're like, I hate this brisket.
Oh, I do it. Like I was cutting one today on the board. I just went ahead and just wrapped it back up to put beans on it, to put it in beans. One, it wasn't, I mean, it temped right. It rendered right. Like it just wasn't it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to serve it. Like as soon as I started cutting into the point, I was like, nope.
And you have that, like, you have that knife feel.
Right.
Where you know where it should be.
Right.
You don't feel that on that knife. It's just not right. So it's over.
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing with pork. Like pork can, like a lot of people say, oh, you got to cook to 203 or whatever. It's by feel.
Oh, yeah.
Like we talk about wrapping briskets. I don't wrap a brisket till I can touch the fat and it pop on top. Like, and it's going to be golden brown or that golden color right underneath the layer of rub on there. But I'm going to touch it. The rub's going to be set and your fat's got to be soft.
And now you're going fat side up.
Yeah.
So there's your other internet question that I can't stand.
All right. Don't you say you're a fat side down guy like this. This may be over.
Hold on. So I'm a firm believer and it depends on what cooker I'm using.
Okay. I'll let you go with that. Yeah. I totally get that.
If
like
my heat's coming from the bottom.
Are you a fat side down on an egg?
No, I'm not. I don't know. Yeah, on an egg I will. Yeah.
Really? Because I've always been water pan 275, fat side up. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Now,
but the water pan's just to disperse the heat across.
Sure.
Because you have no convection heat in an egg when you have a plate setter on there. Like it's not spinning around in there. Like it's just. I mean, I guess it is spinning around a little bit, but it's not as much. And
now, when I cook on my mix of water smokers.
Okay.
So that heat's coming from the bottom.
And it's blowing up. Yeah.
It's blowing up. So I'll go fat side down.
Okay.
Because it's protecting my brisket.
Even with the water pan? Now, do you put water in your water pan on those?
Oh yeah, you have to. You'll wreck the pan.
Okay.
Because your firebox is right.
One of the worst grease fires I've ever had. I had a pit maker out back, and I had water in the water pan, but that thing caught. Good Lord! Like it was a water smoker too. But a lot of people don't even put the water in there. They're just, but having that direct heat from below,
So that's why I go fat side down for that. But now, when I did a brisket on Kevin's Lang, that's fat side up.
Yeah,
because
no doubt.
The way the heat's going.
Yeah.
So that's what people don't get. It's like it's a big part of that where it's like, no, you don't understand. This person on the internet told me that I'm supposed to cook it this way. Yeah, great.
I'm that person.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of gotta play around with it.
Yeah, exactly. I
know your smoker.
I kid and joke, but yeah, in all seriousness, that's exactly what it is. If you don't know your smoker, and you're just watching video after video and stuff, not dogging on you by no means, you got to learn somewhere, and you got to start somewhere. And Mikey, obviously, he knows his smoker. Where I would go in and I would cook fat side up on a Myron Mixon, and I would probably put a piece of butcher paper underneath the bottom of it. One, because you're cooking multiple layers.
Yeah.
And you don't want this brisket dripping on this brisket because it's going to ruin the bark.
Yeah.
And
that's another hard thing. Yeah.
And the butcher paper is going to absorb a lot of the grease, and it's going to create that barrier that you're not hitting that bottom.
Correct.
And all. So that's another way around it.
Yeah.
But I agree. So guilty. The other day, I saw a video and somebody was talking about steakums. I haven't had a steakum since I was a kid, but they've come out with chicken steakums now.
Why?
I don't know, but I'm intrigued.
Curious.
I'm intrigued. I haven't yet. I may go get them before, but like, what's your guilty pleasure? Like if you're going to eat trash at home,
good question.
Totino's pizza rolls, bagel bites.
I'm trying to think. I try not to eat too much trash. I'm on the road so much, and I eat so much trash on the road. I'm eating better.
Okay, what's your trash on the road that you're gonna eat?
Oh, it's definitely like McDonald's.
Oh, so that's usually what I do. Like if I leave here late at night, because the thing is running a restaurant, you can attest to this, and Cam I know can attest to this. You just run all day, like you're around food all day. You're like, yeah, I need to eat something, and you don't. 10 o'clock at night when you leave here, 11 o'clock, you're starving, and you're like, what can I eat? It's either going to be roller food, taquitos from Quick Trip, or it's going to be McDonald's. I mean,
that's also the question of what's open.
Yeah.
And what's available. Waffle
House, McDonald's, or Quick Trip. That's usually
that's all that's open up by you. Yeah.
Taco Bell and Crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crystals is just a bad podcast.
I agree.
I totally would agree with that.
Yeah. 100%.
But it doesn't stop me from wanting it.
Doesn't stop me, but
I agree.
It's one of those things like I try to eat better at home, but it doesn't. I mean, sometimes
you're human.
I'm good for a couple of cooks a week. Like I'll cook on Sundays and usually Mondays, or one or the other. And
then there's all day here.
And then there's all day here, yeah. And then even at home, like peanut butter and jelly. Like that's my staple. Like yesterday morning, I got up, I cooked biscuits and gravy and homemade biscuits. Don't ask me why. What started it is I wanted biscuits and gravy. I didn't want to go to the store and buy it like at Bojangles.
Okay.
But I was like, all right, I'm gonna knock out gravy. And I was like, Maggie, do we have any Grand's biscuits? Y'all close your ears because I know I cook biscuits on Friday morning.
Ooh.
She was like, yeah, they're down in the basement. Well, I went down there and they had been there so long because we don't eat them.
Did they pop them open?
No, they were in the frozen ones, the frozen Grands,
okay.
But they were all stuck together. And I was like,
freezer burn.
I was like, I'm not eating these. So I was like, I got to make biscuits. So I knocked out some biscuits right quick and all. And I even got creative. I made square biscuits.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, instead of the round ones.
There you go.
But Miles was like, oh, and he was like leaving for school, and I was still cooking. He was like, I don't get any. I was like, no.
No, man.
No.
I'm not done yet. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
It's grown food.
Yeah.
We used to do a brunch 4 times a year. Once we would do it once a quarter on the food truck, and we would do barbecue brunch, and we would do biscuits, briskets, and gravy.
Oh yeah.
And I had a guy come up to me. He's like, I think the portion size is too small. It was 2 biscuits with, and I would do chopped brisket in between them.
Mm-hmm.
Because like obviously you're forking. You can't
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you a slice of brisket for you to figure out how to cut up. Like we're not doing that. So it'd be chopped brisket, and it was 8 ounces of chopped brisket.
Okay.
God dang.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, this is just not enough. And it was topped with brisket gravy. So what I would do is I'd render my brisket, like all my trimmings, just render that to make my brisket gravy. So this was like a heart attack in a meal.
I love
You know
it.
what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, there's just not enough. And I go, dude, if you eat all of that and you're still hungry, I go, I will give you another one for free.
Yeah.
No problem. Comes back, he's like, do you guys know what take?
How does that crow taste?
like, there's no way. It was like the gravy was like it was so thick and it was just perfect. But it was so like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like it was brisket gravy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a sausage gravy. It was like it was there. You knew it was there.
That's awesome.
So every week we get people asking us, what do y'all do to your gravy? Why is it so different? So I'm gonna give everybody at home a secret tip.
Oh boy.
All right. Chicken base.
Okay.
Some powdered chicken base mixed in with it. A little Knorr chicken base
Yeah.
with some sausage gravy.
It's good and everything.
Always good. It gives it a little depth of flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of MSG.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Or you can just get straight up MSG and throw in
you
there.
can do that too.
Yeah.
It's a chicken.
Chicken base. And that tomato chicken base they got,
Never tried that one.
lights out.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. You want to make Mexican rice?
Yeah.
The tomato chicken base. Best in the world.
I'm so excited right now.
Yeah.
Might have to go to Publix after this.
Yeah, like I'm so excited right now.
Yeah. I probably have some in the back. I'll send y'all home with it. Because somehow they sent us retail bottles one time.
I didn't
Nice.
know they made
Tomato chicken base. And it's red. Like you open it up and it's red.
it's just perfect.
Yeah. Like I'll season chicken at home. I just throw the chicken base on it and grill it.
Oh,
That sounds
I'm in.
awesome.
Yeah. I'm telling y'all do that. And when it comes, especially shitty chicken breast,
Yeah.
because I don't think there's any good chicken breast unless it's tied to a whole chicken.
I do a whole chicken.
Yeah. So like take that and season it up, put a little black pepper on there and that tomato chicken base, grill it up. And then I take mine to 155. I don't go 165. I go 155. I
Yeah,
let
I'll
it.
go to 160. That's like the.
Yeah.
I know it, but you're fine.
I throw them in a bowl and I put a I don't know, pound of butter in there with it and just let it kind of cover it and tin it and let it sit with that butter and melt all in there. Like your chicken's not going to be dry. It's going to be flavorful. It's going to be awesome.
It's not really shoe leather.
No, it's going to like, that's the thing. That's the thing. When you're grilling chicken, even chicken thighs, you're going to have those crispy ends.
You have to.
Yeah, you got to. I like the crispy
So
ends.
good.
They are, but like putting it in that butter and letting it steam a little bit, it softens everything up a little bit more. Like, yeah, that's the move.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know that.
So chicken steakums with tomato
Yeah.
base.
That's your.
fajitas. Like I think we're gonna bring the steakums back. Like we could do steakum fajitas.
You're just all.
I got a buddy who swears by them steakums.
I didn't even
Swear
know they
by it.
made them anymore until I saw the video the other day. I was like, they
text me and
still
he'll be
make
like,
that shit?
steakums are both out at Publix right now. And I'm like, go get you double.
Where did you see? Or
It had to have been on TikTok. It had to have been.
TikTok's such a. Just,
It's
such
it's
great
a
place.
it is, but it is such a waste of time. And like when you kill yourself all day long and you just want to zone out. Like I don't watch TV anymore. Like it's
I
TikTok.
have this really bad thing where like I'll turn the TV on.
Yes.
Yep.
Then I just watch my phone.
And then I just watch my phone.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you watching?" I'm like, "I'm fine." Let's go. And then Amanda like wants to kill me because I'll be like, "Oh, that was funny." Send.
You're just sitting across from each other, sending TikToks all night.
30 TikToks. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't watch any of them. I'm like that horrible person. I'm like, I watch you watch them because I want to see if you have the reaction that I want you to have.
My biggest thing is like then you've put so much time into sending a really good TikTok, like to Sam or to Maggie, and you're like, "Hey, did you see that TikTok?" Sam will be like, "No, you send me something."
Yeah, but if they send you something,
Oh yeah.
you better watch
Well,
it.
he'll come if you didn't watch it. He'll shove it in your face and make
Yep.
you watch it.
You saw this one, right? Yeah, watch this one
Watch it
right
again.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop what you're doing. Sit down.
I don't know what you're doing that's more important, but it's not. Just stop and let's watch this TikTok together. That's the beauty of TikTok.
Oh, it is. It's useless, mindless stuff, and really and truthfully, I think it's the dumbification of America.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
And I'm unfortunately like I yeah, I'm watching it. I'm not, you know.
That yeah. Well, like so, I watch YouTube most of the time.
Yeah.
Just to see what else is going on in the world. But then like TikTok's like the newspaper of the world these days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can see like I mean it's kind of taken over Twitter. Like, I know there's still like the
Twitter has just become
Whatever.
a cesspool or whatever, I think.
yeah.
I mean, I'm there for it, but don't get me wrong. But like,
I'm there for the entertainment.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't even have Twitter anymore.
I don't use it anymore, but like, yeah, just checking it out, like seeing what else is.
And then Facebook's like all family photos. Like you just get old people. on
That's
it.
right. That's right. The Facebook is the feel good of the day, or not so feel good if you see other people just always being happy.
Yeah, but I feel like the ones that post the most about being happy usually
Are the worst.
Yeah.
Like they're not. We need to check on them more. They're not in a good place.
They're not happy. Like the ones that are like, you don't understand. We went to the apple orchard for 15 hours today. And the husband's
Oh
like,
god.
in the photo, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And one of my new favorite things to do, which is horrible, and Amanda makes fun of me for it, but I like taking photos of the Instagram boyfriend taking photos.
Holy shit.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like, don't send it. Like we were somewhere and I watched a guy take a good 20 minutes worth of photos of this poor girl, and he could not get it right, and she was getting very angry. Like being like, why can't you get this angle correct? like, and she's like showing him the angle, and he's not getting it. And you can see like the frustration of like she's gonna break up with him. Like at some point, this is gonna be their demise.
Just for the gram.
Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's gonna break up with him because she's gonna be like, I have to find somebody
Take a picture.
that can take the correct picture of me.
But the thing is like my daughter, like, love her to death, but that's her. Like, she went to the Apple Festival. I'm waiting to see what pictures she posts, because like, you know, they have to dress up to go to the Apple Festival and all, and yeah.
She has her angles that she wants, and then she.
Speaking of which,
she watching this? I mean,
how do I turn it? So I told her to turn the collards off. Question mark.
there's a switch.
Twisty.
Twist to off.
When the flame goes out, it goes out.
Make sure you don't go the other way where it turns off.
Well, if it gets hotter, you know that it's the wrong way. Oh, no, she's good. She's good.
Did you figure it out?
Which way? Or how? Left.
Hasn't she cooked before?
No. Let's see. Right.
Clockwise.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
That's what they tell me.
Yes. Like if you're turning a tank off, it's
Yeah.
to the right. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Oh, so she cut.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're good. We're safe. The building is still standing.
We haven't blown up yet.
So we were talking about pictures. Like the other day, Dustin was in here, our
Yeah.
good friend. This is a knife maker, and there was a guy that came in that he's a IT guy, but he does something we can't in business. And they were talking about, I guess he does photography. Dustin was like, man, I checked out his page. Like he's a diver. He does all these cool landscape photography, all this cool stuff. And they were talking about this guy that they follow on YouTube. Like he hikes and like he'll go for days to get to one point in this mountain
And take a photo.
and set up, take one photo, pack his shit up and leave. Like if I'm going that far,
Yeah, I'm hanging
Like-
out for a minute.
like I want to make sure I get the. They're like, no, he takes his time setting up for that one photo,
Yeah.
that one time a day, everything. And once he takes that one photo, he's packing his
Going
shit up,
out.
and going.
He's good.
She thinks she did it.
Is the flame out? Like, I mean, like, what are the?
It was on low, so if it kept, it's collards. You can't overcook. Well, you can't. Like if it's on low, they're gonna be fine till we get done in here.
What's the variable though?
I don't know if she went the wrong way. There could be a huge variable. And so let's talk about your rubs,
Yeah.
man. What is your go-to rub right here?
What am I cooking?
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? Like with us, the way like I design the line is it's not like there's seasonings at the end of the day. So like you can use whatever.
what do you
want.
find yourself going to?
To pull what I pull a lot of? I mean, our burger seasoning is super versatile. I use it in like I said, I use it in a lot of soups. I use it in pasta dishes.
So it's a salt forward, salt pepper forward.
It's more of a pepper forward with
Okay.
It's got mustard seeds, minced garlic, minced onion in it.
Oh,
So the way that I did it is it has all that, and then it has all that in granulated form too.
Oh.
So it's gonna stay on the top, and it's also gonna make it melt into whatever you're cooking into
Mhm.
and make that depth of flavor. But everything with me is always just building flavors. It's built like, you know, make the flavor profile bigger, make it bold, and make it actually taste like good things.
so I'm taking it that you layer these.
I can, but I don't always.
Okay.
Like our Windy City is fantastic. I use that a ton. And that's going to be that's our savory barbecue. And that was our go-to. Like that's my ribs. That was my pulled pork. That was my chicken on the truck. You know what I mean? Like
Good universal barbecue rub.
good
Yep.
universal barbecue rub. And when I did my pork belly burn ends, I would actually mix our brisket and our Windy City with it, because the brisket's heavy black pepper, super Central Texas.
16 mesh.
So it's got 16 mesh and it's got table grind also in it.
Oh shit.
So the reason I did that is the table grind will melt into the brisket, and the 16 mesh will stay outside and help you build that bark.
So I saw a guy the other day. I was watching a video and it's Shotgun Willie's in Nashville. And the guy is like cooking Texas barbecue. It was I think it was Ant. I think it was Barbecue Ant that did a 24 hours or whatever. Maybe it wasn't him. But he uses 16 mesh and 10 mesh on his brisket. So almost like a cracked pepper.
Yeah.
Like a heavy cracked pepper on top. And I tried it. Like I got some 10 mesh here and I tried it. And like it really does. It creates an unbelievable bark.
So yeah, it's like that's how our brisket like is meant to do. It's like creating that bark, and then it has just a little bit of cayenne on the back end. Just to give you that hello at the end. And like when people are like, well, it's a little spicy in the beginning, it's like, yeah, well, you do understand that it's going to go through a 13-hour cook. Everything's going to change. Everything's going to change.
Oh, no doubt.
Like for you to have something at the end, it must have a lot at the beginning. You know, so that's a fantastic one. One of our most popular is the bane of my existence, which is our shiitake. And when I made that, I didn't think it was. I thought it was like, oh, dude, this is gonna be so awesome. Like I'm making this really cool seasoning. And then now what it's come to, it's like everyone loves it, but now I have to continue making this thing. And so what we do with that one is we take, originally what we were doing was we were taking fresh shiitake mushrooms, we're smoking them, dehydrating them, grinding them. We've actually changed a little bit of the method, and now we freeze dry them. So freeze drying actually holds more of the flavor, and it holds the nutrients that's in the mushroom. So you get a little bit of nutrients.
So you're not dehydrating anymore.
No,
You're
we're
just
freeze drying.
Just freeze drying. That's
And
cool.
It gives you the same. It actually gives you a longer shelf life.
I bet.
Because freeze drying, the shelf life's like 25 years. So, like it's insane. I don't want you to keep one of our seasonings for 25 years, but I'm just saying, like,
if you needed to.
If you needed to. But so what we do is we take. I mean, there's real mushrooms in there, and what people don't understand, like, okay, 3 pounds of raw mushrooms, when we're done with our process, goes down to 6 ounces.
What do you sell it for? Like $40 a bottle?
No, that's the thing. The bottle's $11, and people are like, it's kind of expensive. No, it's not.
That's not expensive.
It's not expensive at all. Not for what we're doing.
So how much mushroom is in a bottle? Could you? So it's mushroom forward.
Oh yeah, that's literally the base is mushroom.
Wow.
So like it is you don't taste, like, you don't get like the mushroom, like when people are like,
right. No, you don't
taste mushroom. You taste umami. It just, like, that's what it does. It just gives you that umami flavor. It gives you that fantastic base, especially when you're going on like a steak or like what you did the other night.
Beef stroganoff.
So good with it. It pumps up all those flavors, and it works. And since like the smoking of the mushroom, you get that good clean smoke in it, and it gives you that little bit of smokiness without giving you that like liquid smoke. Just not good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure do.
It's hard to explain if you've never tried it, but like when you try it, you totally like it makes sense.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah,
it makes sense. Like, you know, and then our classic, I mean, it's our SPG on steroids, and it's not an SPG on steroid. Like, I looked at an SPG today, like, and I'm reading all the damn things that are in. I'm like, when does an SPG stop being an SPG? Like, when you like
18 ingredients.
Am I wrong? No, like,
you're right.
So you made a seasoning that's called SPG, which is supposed to be salt, pepper, garlic. And then you start reading all the other ingredients, and they go, how do you call that an SPG if it has 50 other ingredients? Now it's a seasoning. Call it something different.
That's right.
The only difference with ours is I don't call ours an SPG. I just say it's an SPG on steroids, because what we did is we put granulated onion in it. So the reason we did that is it rounds it all out. It gives you that little bit of sweetness that like a true SPG is missing, because it's salt, pepper, garlic, and onion. The onion is very bold. The pepper is going to be peppery, whatever, and then the salt gives you elevates all those flavors. You don't have anything that's a little bit sweet to round out your palate. So that one rounds out your palate that way. And then our sweet is a brown sugar and honey base. So it gives you sweetness, but it's not just let me give you sugar for sugar. It's let's have some kind of flavor with it, and it kind of stops at a certain level of being over sweet, and just kind of gives you a little bit of that savoriness also.
So I'm sitting here thinking,
Let's hear
and
it.
it's dangerous.
Let's hear it.
So there used to be this company here, and it was what's it called? The garlic people that went out of business.
The black garlic?
Yeah, the black
I
garlic.
can't remember the name of their company.
Soul to Belly.
Yeah, that's right.
Soul to Belly. They decided that they were killing themselves. They were making black garlic.
Black garlic.
Yes, they were making it like unbelievable, like 11 weeks per batch, and they were turning it every week for chefs, for us, for selling it.
It was incredible.
They were dehydrating it, making it an ultra garlic powder. They were selling it as a black garlic paste. You take take a ribeye,
Mhm.
rub it down with black garlic paste
Yeah.
as your binder. The shiitake rub on there. Golly. Like,
Fantastic.
oh, it would be so good.
And then our sauce. So I say our sauce is it's kind of like if Memphis and Kansas had a baby.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's gonna start off really nice and sweet for you. It turns tangy in the middle and it finishes up.
Nice.
So it gives you it gives you just this ride. And now when you put it on ribs or you put it on like a pulled pork sandwich or something like that and you drizzle it on, it's not going to be quite as intense.
Okay.
The vinegar does calms itself down just a little bit in the sandwich or in whatever you're eating on it, but it gives you all those flavor profiles that you're craving. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It's definitely it's a flavor ride. It's not meant to be just, oh, here's your basic. Here's your basicness. You know what I mean?
Here's your KC masterpiece.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So we tried making it different. That was the sauce that we ran on the food truck for 7 years.
Okay.
Man, it was.
Did y'all just have one sauce?
We just had one sauce. We had our sauce.
God, I wish I'd have done that.
This was your choice.
I wish I'd have just done one sauce, maybe two.
Well, the hard part is then you get the people that are like, well, if it's not vinegar based, I don't like it. Great,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, if it's not a mustard based sauce, it's not.
Here you go.
It's not real barbecue. If it's not mustard based.
Well, I mean, barbecue is so regional in Georgia,
It is
Chicago,
everywhere.
everywhere is such a melting pot
Yep.
of people, and you try to appease everybody.
You can't.
Yeah.
The minute you try making everybody happy, you make nobody happy.
You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Like you try making everyone happy, then they're like, "Why don't you change it?" I want to. It's like, dude, just try this and see if you like it.
Yeah.
If you hate it, awesome.
Yeah.
If you don't,
There's plenty more on the shelves
Yep.
fantastic.
out there.
I had a lady try our sauce and she's like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I go, flavor is objective. And she goes, what's that supposed to mean? I go, flavor is objective.
Yeah.
And she just looked at me. She's like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, something you like, I may not like. Something I like, you may not like. And I'm like, it's subjective. So
Yeah.
like it just is what it is. She goes, you should get a different definition for what you're saying.
What?
No, that's the exact definition. Let me Google it for you.
So I'm all down for people telling me I don't care for it. It's when
Cool.
they just get right down nasty about it.
Yeah,
Don't be
that's
mean.
worse.
Don't be me.
You put your hard work into this. Like,
That's right.
You know what
Don't be
I'm just
mean.
saying is subject. Like I was just saying, I'm like she had more of a problem with the word subjective.
Yeah.
She didn't know what the
She didn't know what it meant.
And I was like,
Put
look,
your hand in your old Webster.
there you go.
Lady, Grammarly can update, like it can make you sound like a wordsmith if you don't know what subjective means.
Like it's a fantastic, like
Yeah.
it's perfect.
It's a perfect definition.
Like
It's true.
Flavor subjective. What you like, and like that's the other thing that I say. Like people are like, well, which one's the best? I go, whichever one you buy.
They're all good.
They're all good, but the one that you buy.
What do
is
you
the best.
cook the most of?
Exactly. Like and what I grab, like you're not gonna grab your brisket rub to cook, lobster.
No.
Because you don't want that flavor profile. So it's like it just depends on what flavor profile you're looking for and where you're going with your cook and what you want that end product to be like. And then like we got 6 different ones that'll help you get there.
Speaking of lobster, crabs, whatever. Who was the
Crabs.
No, I don't anymore. I got rid of them. Who was the genius that came up with the Old Bay compound butter?
A genius.
I don't even know. Like it's insane.
It's a beautiful thing.
Is it?
Like a beautiful.
I can't wait to try it.
I'm assuming I haven't tried it, but I'm assuming it's a beautiful.
Oh, I know it's beautiful. I've tried it. Like,
Yeah?
it's good. It's good.
The thing is like Old Bay, like seafood's a hard one, which is why we don't have seafood seasoning yet. Because like there's so much in seafood that's in that like grouping
Mm-hmm.
that you're like, man, I don't know. I don't know what to make. You know what I mean? Like, what if you're making salmon? Well, it's different than if I'm making scallops. Usually not using the same one.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I would get if I with the lineup you have here, I'd go with the sweet rub on salmon.
Yeah.
Little lemon, little dill, little
Yes,
sweet rub.
yes.
Yeah. Or even your SPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SPG on some shrimp.
This one, like our Estes, which is our burger, we do it on scallops all the time,
Nice.
and it's insane how great it works on scallops. It just works. And
I bet. Yeah.
and
I mean,
on like other white fish too, like it just works.
Yeah.
It like people get a little weird because there's seeds in it, but like once you get past that, it's fantastic.
I love seeds in my stuff. I like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite bites around here is a place called Queenie's, and he does a sorghum pickled mustard seeds, and like puts them on top of pork belly, on top of grits. Like it's an appetizer. It's so good. Brett is, but the sorghum and mustard seeds is unbelievable.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, I mean, I'm down, guys. Y'all have got to check them out though. The shiitake especially, but all of them. Like, just get get them all.
You're in over 100 retail, all right?
We're in 100 retailers across the country. If you go to our website, which is fireandsmokebbq.com, you can see our store retailer list and see if anything's near you. If not, you can always order them right off there.
Oh.
We ship worldwide, obviously. That's one other interesting.
Locally, where could they find it locally?
Locally here, what am I near?
Atlanta Grill Company.
Atlanta Grill Company. Atlanta's such a giant, like I don't know.
Okay,
Atlanta,
Wilkes Meat Market.
Wilkes has it.
Okay,
Butcher on Whitlock carries us, which is up in
Marietta. That's not far at all from here either.
So
Okay,
there's some places that are carrying us, and I think there's some a little bit further south. Carol Sausage carries us if you're going down.
Stripling's.
Stripling's not yet. We've been working on it. We're trying.
Stripling's a good. You'll get in there.
We're trying.
Yeah, the one out in near Athens. Just talk to Mr. Jimmy.
All right.
Yeah, great dude.
Yeah, the goal is moving it. We're in a lot of butcher shops, a lot of mom and pop places. That's where we tend to do best.
And do you really want to be in like a Publix or something like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I want to make sure the product's always the product. Right. You know what I mean? Like I don't ever want to cheapen the product. And I think that's one of the things that I not that I want to get on a soapbox on, but one of the things that like baffles me is people will go buy a ribeye and they will spend, like $30, $40, $50 a pound for something. And then they will go to their seasoning section and go, what's the cheapest thing I can buy?
Yep.
I don't really.
You went for the Danos, didn't you?
You know what I mean? Like that. Like you go and spend, or you go buy a Snake River Farm brisket, and then you complain about an $11 season.
Yeah.
Oh, that's expensive.
Look what you just bought.
Spent $250 on a brisket.
Here's what I will say: go make your own rub and see how much it costs.
Oh, that's my favorite. I make my own at home. Is that cost
Cool?
effective?
Cool.
Is that cost effective though?
Right.
Like curiosity.
I mean, sometimes it's a pastime,
Sure, if you're doing it for fun, you're
Yeah, exactly.
But understand, like when they're like, it's cheaper to make it home. No, it's not. Nothing ever balance. You're not buying a pound of black pepper and a pound of salt, a pound of garlic, and then mixing it together perfectly, a third, right?
Right.
So now you have this problem where this black pepper is maybe you used half a pound of it, and maybe you used a quarter of the salt. Salt's not going to really go bad. That's fine. But the black pepper's starting to die. It's starting to dry out. It's starting to die. And when you start to go make that again,
It's not going to taste the
gets
same.
thrown away.
Yeah.
And you need to go buy new black pepper.
Yep.
So you just spent how much money on, a third of a pound of black pepper to throw it away and then get new black pepper every single time?
A lot of people are also saying, hey, it's like a 4-to-1 ratio, pepper to salt, or a 3-to-1. It's what they're telling you there is it's equal parts by volume, by weight.
Yes.
It's not that it visually it's going to be pepper forward and it's going to taste pepper forward, but it's equal parts by volume, not.
Yeah.
It's
That's the other thing that people don't understand. That go put a pound of black pepper in a cup.
I'm sorry about weight, not volume.
Yeah, but go put a pound of black pepper in a cup and go put a pound of salt in a cup.
Yeah.
And see where you're at
Mhm.
volume wise, because it's completely different.
Oh, no doubt.
And then and like certain things are fluffier,
Yep.
certain things aren't.
Cayenne, another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the crazy. So this stuff, our shiitake is a 5 ounce, just because of the like everything else is 7, but our shiitake is 5 because of the cost, right? But the crazy thing is, once you break off that seal, the mushrooms actually start to rehydrate slowly, so they actually start to get bigger. So like, it's like weird. Like they'll start to get bigger in the bottle. So like the bottle looks like it's getting fuller on you
I love it.
because the mushrooms are just rehydrating and they're taking up more space. So it's an interesting that's why another thing when people look at the bottles, they're like, this one's filled a little bit more. Yeah, well, the mushroom dust was a little bit more in that one than it was, in the full grind. You still get dust no matter what. Like we try our best to keep like just a good grind, but it's like
Oh, you're
gonna
going
get
to.
dust.
Yeah.
It just there's no way around it. And I can't throw that dust away because it's like liquid gold.
Still, that's a.
Oh, it's a crazy amount.
Y'all got it. I mean, just keep him in business. I mean, I know he's making all the other rubs to support the shiitake habit that he's got.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like the shiitake is it's a fantastic seasoning, honestly. And when we made it, I didn't think it was gonna like people were gonna like go crazy for it.
Well, and I think what people love about it is it's innovative.
It's different.
I mean, with rubs out there, nobody's reinventing the wheel until you come out with something like that. Like that's a game changer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it.
Yeah. It's a beautiful little seasoning.
It's awesome.
I mean, you've had it.
Oh, yeah.
You cooked with it the other night.
I've done it on just steak that first night
Yeah.
when I got it from you, and then I did that beef stroganoff with it.
And it's so versatile. You can do so much.
Yeah.
With it. You know what I mean? Like you can like I said, you can put it in different things. Like we'll put it in soups also, just because that mushroom like rehydrates a little bit and gives that little bit of flavor. And like what I always tell people, like if you put it on steak, like you know how like you put salt on steak like half an hour before you're about to cook it, I go just put shiitake in it and let those mushrooms rehydrate. And let them bloom back open. And they're just gonna give you more flavor. That's all they're gonna do.
I can't wait. I'm going to cook something with it this week. It'll be a steak.
You guys hear that he's gonna cook.
Yeah. Somebody's going to get lucky. Not me.
You never know.
Who knows? Anyway, man, I appreciate you coming in, hanging out with us. This has been awesome. This has been great catching up. I love everything about what you're doing, man. Just keep doing it.
Thank you.
Keep on.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can't wait for your sauce.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's coming.
it is.
We're gonna have some fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all. Yeah. All right. So now, since it's just us, I have to go turn the thing off now.
There's no big production here.
No.
It looks pretty, but
Yeah. There's nothing big about us.
That's
I can promise you.
See y'all.
have a good one, guys.